Well, the best thing we could ever do for the world is to work on ourselves. I mean, we have 3 brains in one, and those 3 brains allow us to go from thinking to doing to being. The thinking brain is the neocortex. That's where we learn information. You learn knowledge, you learn semantics, you learn philosophy, you learn intellectual data. You store that in your thinking brain. Now, it's not enough to just learn that information. You have to actually apply it. You have to demonstrate it. You have to get your body involved. And when you go from thinking to doing, and you actually modify your behavior, now you're going to have a new experience. And that new experience is going to make a new emotion. And that new emotion is going to instruct the body. It's going to teach the body what the mind has intellectually understood. You see, knowledge is for the mind and experience is for the body. Getting people to go from thinking to doing is like herding cats, because everybody wants to stay in the intellectual realm. No one wants to get their body involved. Everybody wants to be a philosopher, right? And so, if you're going to read the book on peace, if you're going to read the book on global warming, if you're going to read the book on economics or a new way to govern, you can't just read the book. You got to now get out there and demonstrate it. You got to demonstrate peace. You have to be peace. And it's not enough to just do the experience once. You can't have an experience where you read the book on peace and then you go and you experience peace one time and say, okay, I get the Nobel Peace Prize. You got to be able to repeat that experience over and over again. And you got to make it look natural and easy. And when you do, you activate that 3rd brain. And that 3rd brain allows us to be in a state of being. See, when we're in a state of being, that's when mind and body are working together. And leaders, great leaders, knew how to do that. They weren't saying one thing and their body was doing something else. Their mind and body, their intention was aligned to their behavior. And their behavior was equal to their intention. Their thoughts and actions were working together. And when that happens, we move into a state of being. Now imagine a world of people demonstrating peace. So you can meditate in a city. And there have been experiments that show that the crime rates drop when the meditation is in process. But when that experiment ends, the crime rate returns back to the ceiling value when the meditation is over. So it's not enough to just think it, but imagine now if people were actually demonstrating peace and actually demonstrating they were the living example of it. You would have thousands of people in a state of being it. So when the mystics talked about being it, it wasn't enough to just say you can think about it. You have to actually embrace it. It's got to be visceral. And you have to memorize that emotional state so great, with such intensity, that nothing from your external world will move you from it. That's when we've mastered that state of peace. So where are the role models for that in our society? So the way I think, affect the world is we go from thinking to doing to being. We get the neocortex to learn the knowledge, gather the information. I read the book on peace. Now let me think. How could I demonstrate this? How could I apply it to my life? How could I demonstrate peace to my brother or my enemy? How could I forgive somebody? Let me modify my behavior some way. And lo and behold, when you do it, you have this new feeling. And that new feeling is because you just had a new experience. And that new experience then allows the emotion to instruct the body, and you remember the experience better, because emotions help us to remember experiences better. They brand experiences into long-term memory. So now, 2 brains working together now. The limbic brain, the emotional brain, is working with the thinking brain. The mind and body are beginning to get a signal. But you can't return back to the old self. You got to be able to repeat it. And when we're able to repeat it at will, now we're all 3 brains working together. We're in a state of being, and we've memorized the state internally so well that nothing in our environment can move us from it. We're not going to knee-jerk in the typical ways that we would knee-jerk if we were in a state of being in peace. we would demonstrate it, and that, of course, would affect the next person, which would affect the next person, would affect the next person. And I think that, quite honestly, I think that we're at a point in our evolution as a species on the planet right now where it's game time. I think this particular era right now is about the personalization and the demonstration of those virtues that everybody talks about and points the finger at, but nobody's really actually living. So it's my personal passion, on a personal level, to be able to demonstrate it and to be able to maintain that modified state of being, independent of the environment. And when we're able to do that, it's now within us. And that's when we begin to make a difference on a global level.